Hello and happy International Girls in ICT Day. My name is Carole and I manage a blog site called PNGICTMeri. You can follow us on Facebook or through the blog on WordPress. And today, as part of the celebration of Girls in ICT Day, we were supposed to go live in Mount Hagen, but that's not happening now. But we are here in this room, and we have with us a special guest, Emmie. Myself and Emmie have worked together in the space of ICT. We continue to keep in touch with each other. And today we'd like to commemorate this day just by sharing our experience, our journey through ICT, and encourage girls who are interested to take up this profession, ICT being information, communication, and technology. And so today, Emmie and I will just share about our story as women in ICT, our journey and our work and challenges, successes, and with the theme being access and safety for this year's theme, we also like to share our thoughts on this. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Emmie, for joining us. And we begin. Okay, I'll let Emmie introduce herself and tell a bit about her story first. And then I'll also share my story, and then we can just take turns and talk about what we want to talk about.
Okay. Thank you, Carole. So my name is Emmie Nombo. I currently work at the World Bank, but I've been at several different places in ICT, mostly working for other companies, and it's been a really, really good journey, but I cannot say it's without challenges, especially for women. So thank you, Carole, for inviting me here. I'm really happy to be here, and I hope whatever I share here would be useful for especially the young ones coming up here in the country, in PNG. Before I go further, Carole, were there any specific questions you wanted to ask, or you just wanted me to introduce myself and talk about how I started?
Yes, so you can share what inspired you to, or how did you find yourself in the ICT space? And was there anything, like while you were in school, were you inspired because of a family member or maybe a teacher or anything? So you can talk about your journey leading up into taking up ICT, and then your education in that area.
Okay, thank you, Carole. So my journey, it's you know how in PNG, and I don't think it's just PNG, during my time, you know, in the 90s, mid-90s, late 90s, when you're at university, if you're really good at science, everyone expects you to be a doctor, or you know, especially be a doctor, or they want you to be a lawyer. So you see, like, you come out of school, or you get into school with other people's expectation of you. So during our time, IT, or you know, computer science, you know, it was like basically a thing unheard of in Papua New Guinea. So maybe at Unitech they're offering computer science classes and things like that, but in other universities, there was only 2 universities. So in the other university, it was just mathematics, but they had computer science programs also running. That would be mid-94, 1994, 95. So when I went into school, the first time I thought I would really want to be in IT was, that was during my time in year 11, year 12. I actually represented PNG at a science summer school in Australia. So I saw some things that was like we don't see here in PNG. So it was like, I think experience, exposure is a really, really big thing. It changes people's mindset, changes people's perception about things. So that was when I kind of, growing up, I wanted to be a lot of things, you know. It's like, it's not just IT, but I wanted it to be anything, like everything. Like I wanted to even be an astronaut. So when I went there for the summer school, we visited places like CSIRO, we visited places like the Australian National University, we visited places where there were research going on. So some of the things that were going on was like stuff that these days we will say it's just small things, like you type something in and the computer speaks back to you. Well, in the 90s, you don't see that in Papua New Guinea. So those were the kind of things that kind of really got me into, oh yeah, this is someplace I'd rather be at than, you know, studying to be a doctor or lawyer or whatever. Anyway, so that's how I kind of really wanted to get into the industry. And I ended up going to UPNG, which was good. Mathematics, you know, the backbone of computer science. So I did mathematics, so that was a really good that was a good thing to do because it kind of opens up my understanding of computer science. And then we were kind of like probably I would say, I shouldn't say guinea pig, pioneers. So during our time, we were introduced to some more of those advanced computer science classes. So that's how I got into the industry, into the field. However, I should say, during those time coming up, there wasn't really much work for people who did those kind of courses, who studied those kind of courses. When you come out, you're just doing basically IT support, help desk stuff, techie stuff, which you don't really need to spend too much time studying. So that was an unfortunate thing for IT people studying those kind of courses during that time. However, things have changed. So I can say that right now in Papua New Guinea, we're seeing more and more users and more applications of some of the things that we don't see here. You can only go to work at Google or Microsoft to apply. We're seeing that change here now with the internet, globalization, you know, all these things that are happening nowadays. It's given us an opportunity to do more, even to create things. So I think there's a lot of potential in this area, and I'm really hoping to see a lot more women and girls in that area. If there's any more specific things you wanted me to talk about.
So 1994 is when you went to uni, right? Okay, so I was in uni in the year 2000. So that's like, we say that's like 10 years apart, Yeah. About 10 years. So when I went into uni, there was only 3 girls in my first year. And by the time we went to final year, I was the only one girl who graduated with the boys. So with the 10-year gap, how was your class at the time? Like in terms of the number of girls to boys ratio, how many were there?
Yeah, we had some classes where there's only me, and then some classes where there's only 3-4 of us. It was okay. I think the biggest thing is women and girls don't see yourself as different from the guys because you're a woman. You have to compete with them on the same playing field, and you have just as much potential and ability and intelligence just as the guys. So the bad thing is a lot of women are not, at that time, they were not too interested to go in there because they saw it as quite a difficult thing to do. They didn't really want to, try it out. But I believe these things are changing. So women are more and more interested in getting into this field. But I believe also that our girls need more encouragement. So I shouldn't say things have changed, like really, really culturally, and you know, we still have that we still have that thinking, or we still have that, you know, how even just back at home or in outside of work and school, you do hear comments flying around like, oh, you're a girl, you can't do that, or you know, this is not your field, that's something for the guys to do, and things like that, or you won't be any good at it. Those are kind of things that we should discourage. We should encourage everyone to be to have faith in themselves, to believe in their own ability, and to be better than themselves. You know, like in the end, you're just competing with yourself. So maybe I've gone more, you know, saying more than what I should say about the difference between like number of women, girls in the class or in the industry, in the field, than the guys. I see that changing. During my time, it's like either one or none, or two or three. But it's not all the computing classes or what. It's like, you know, you take a lot of, it's a university, so you don't really take same classes with everyone else. It's like some classes you take with people from a different stream. They're just taking those classes because they're required to, but mostly it's just me or two other girls in one other class. That was it.
Yeah, so that's the challenge. Like now I see the lists that come out for universities. Like I get excited seeing that there's a lot of girls now in those lists, where previously there wasn't as many, like you said. So this International Girls in ICT Day, basically it came about as a way of, it's not only in Papua New Guinea, but globally they've seen that not many girls are taking up ICT. Maybe because everyone who is supposed to take ICT have taken up, or it's just that women have chosen not to take that. Why they're not taking it is some of those questions that we have to ask. So this day, today, which happens annually, the last Thursday of April, this year's theme is access and safety. And so now that you've been in the industry for like, since the 90s to...
I forgot how long.
Yeah, so the technology has changed. Like you said, at the time, the demand for work was help desk, hardware. I mean, I finished as a computer scientist too from Unitech, but when I went to work, it was more about making sure that people were able to use Word, Office, they were able to, the computers had to come on, the network was working. So you find that a lot of those programming skills that we were learning, we didn't make use of them because at the time, there wasn't any need for it. We were just using like software that was already programmed, and you just had to make sure that the system was running. And so like now with those skills, because I don't use them now, I don't, you know, it's nothing. But at this time, like we have a need for applications and software programming, and so how have you seen the technology change from your time, from when you finished school to when you started work, and like now in the 2022 we're in, with the technology in Papua New Guinea, and how do you see access in Papua New Guinea with technology, not only with the technology that's being used in the workplace, but also access in general with users, end users, and professionals, and that. So.
Okay. So with access, I think the main thing that we'd be I'm thinking about would be connection, internet connection. So I think we have a really long way to go. We have a lot of players already in the field, but we're still way behind in terms of speed. So in terms of speed, you find that nowadays it's people who can afford it, they get the speed. And I can say there's a lot of good people out there, people who are interested in creating things, people who are interested in innovation, people who are interested in making a lot of big changes. One of their main problems would be connectivity. So I can say we'll get there. We'll get there in terms of access. another thing is we've got a lot of international companies and organizations in the country. So the good thing is people who work there, they have the opportunity to use whatever facilities the company that they work in provide, and that's kind of that's good for people working there because they can use that to learn, or it's like an experience, right? An exposure. They can use that to learn about a lot of different things that you cannot know or achieve without the access. So that kinds of shows you, the benefits of having a good internet connection. There's also a lot of things that our people outside of here. I cannot say I cannot say that I know everything about what's happening here in the country because places are different. Like some places you go, you have like say for Ley and Medang, Ley and Port Moresby, the story would be different from if you go to Medang or Wewak. Story would be quite different. So I cannot speak for the whole of PNG, but I can say that things have changed a lot. Things have changed a lot, but we're still, we're getting there, but we're still not there yet. So I'm one person who's like a heavy user, so I'm always frustrated when I cannot, when my internet's playing up, it's like I'm so frustrated, and it's, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. So that would be one of the things I think that we need to improve on still. Even though we have like new players coming in, we still have a long way to go. So that's one. And I think in terms of the usage of like the new technology, especially the internet, or having the whole country connected or different places connected, we still need to have that fixed. So I believe there are a lot of organizations, a lot of departments, different businesses that are operating in the country. I'm pretty sure they're looking at having connectivity issues resolved because it's good for business. Not just that, it's good for education. We need people from outside of the cities to be able to get the same quality of education as what people are getting in other parts of the world. It's very possible. It's very possible now with online education. People don't really need to go to universities to get a degree. You can just do all this. I mean, you can attend the university online. You don't need to come to Port Moresby or go to Ley or go to wherever. So if we have those kind of access for the other places where we always have issues with, I think things will really change for us, especially the girls. You know how there are certain things that our women, our girls are really, really, we say they need more encouragement in some areas than the guys. So the guys, we do have guys. I'm not saying we don't think about the guys, but like children especially, they need to be encouraged to do certain things that we think is not possible here. And I think for them to be able to see that it's possible, we need those kind of access, those coverage, so it helps them get there.
Thank you. So we're looking at one side of access being access to connectivity and internet, which, like you said, if we have better internet connection anywhere, that can lead us to access to online education opportunities are there. That's one area that I'm passionate about is digital skills and getting people digital education, where I see like, for example, I was learning computing and learning how to type and learning computers from, I was privileged to go to a private school, but we were learning computers in grade 6 and, high school, we already had access to that. And then when I went to public school for grade 11 and 12, we had no access to computers. Even though the computers were there, it was only restricted to like only certain, like this time. I know that some schools have labs, but only the year 12s have. And then now there's the ICT subject where they sit for the exams. At our time, we never had the ICT subjects as part of the year 12 on MSO. When we talk about access, it's not only having access to internet, but also access to ICT education so that many more women and guys too, they can have access to education, and especially help them to understand the technology. And so digital literacy, I think, is one of the biggest on them. So like for myself, working in rural parts of Papua New Guinea, one, like you said, there's issues still with access. Digital is the one that, you know, a lot of people are receiving. People are setting up VSETs because they can afford it. But then there's some areas that we have no access to communication. There's classrooms where they're learning computer, but they don't have computers. They're just learning off textbooks. So when we talk about access, like we have the challenge with access connectivity and access to education. So if we fix one of these things, it will help the other side of accessing education. The other side, the other theme part is safety. We see on the news through Facebook and in the newspaper now, there's a lot of cyber bullying and everything cyber that's happening online. What are your thoughts on that area, and how can you, what is your encouragement for not only girls but young people online and any user in terms of personal information and, you know, just accessing the internet and online safety?
Yeah, that's one, like, I'd say it's quite scary. Say if you have young kids who are not monitored, that's a scary thing to do. So for a message out there for parents, just be, you must know, it's a must that you must know where your kids are going online, have you know, restrictions in place, ensure you have some control. Ensure you have some control on what's happening in your own home. So these days you have a lot of scary things happening. Like, for instance, there was a recent thing in the news where a teenager was blackmailed. So he was asked to send some things that are not appropriate to someone, and this someone blackmailed him, and he ended up killing himself. And it wasn't the first of that sort of thing to happen. It wasn't here in PNG, but the use of Facebook, social media here in PNG, I see that it's like out of control. So it's like there's potential for this kind of things to happen in the country. So especially for young girls and young kids, parents have to be really, really careful where they go, what they do, and we have to tell our kids to be open about, you know, things that they find as bully, like someone's bullying them or someone's threatening them, blackmailing them, whatever. You know, it's important that we talk to the kids, especially our young kids, and make sure that they know that it's not the end of the world. If someone's doing that to you, you have a place to go to, you know, stop it. So that's one. The other thing is, you know, people steal other people's identity. So you have to think about these things and be safe. Be safe online.
Yeah, it's a really big issue. I mean, we are having challenges in Mount Hagen where they said because of a TikTok video that was posted, one of the schools, I don't know, Bagarapinapa school, and so that started a whole series of fights, and now the schools are closed. And so, like, you can already see the technology is already, you know, has its impacts, good and bad. And again, we have to continue to stress on the need for education and digital literacy, that it has to be as part of our, like, base curriculum, and it has to be part, not only waiting to go grade 12 or first year uni and they start learning about computers, but right at the primary and elementary level, they should start to be educated, because already, I mean, even a 4-year-old or 3-year-old is already using a mobile phone or tablet or Carole Cholai, but the education of it is not in the in our education system. And so people have access to technology, but they're not being taught like the good and bad, or the bad and the ugly, or side of it. So that's like, I think one of our challenge too is getting ICT education or digital literacy as part of our everyday thing that we do in the workplace, at home with our children, and also especially in the school where they spend most of their time. And it's not just back to access, it's not just for people who are just gonna go to take up computing, but it's for everyone, because it's now like just become part of our everyday life. So Emmie, has there been any challenges as you are women in ICT working in the field? I mean, I also serve in an area where, you know, culturally men are seen as the leaders, and sometimes I also have challenges myself where they can't take instructions or on them from a woman, because culturally it's known that all men are leader. So you've been in senior roles and you've had a team. I was under your team also. Has there been challenges with you being a woman in this area, and also as a manager or leader? Any challenges technology-wise and people-wise too, as a professional?
Thank you, Carole. Challenges working with men, I think in the past it was a little bit difficult, but things have changed. Now I think the male population have seen a lot of women. It's not, I shouldn't say a lot, I should say like more and more, many women in roles where, leadership roles, management roles, and they've come to accept that, a woman can be your manager in this area, which in the past was only something that men can do. So I think that's changed, but during my time coming up, I had a bit of difficulties dealing with some male counterparts who would not probably listen to me, or they would just pretend to be listening to me, but they go and do something else, something you didn't instruct them to, but they think that it's better than the instructions you've given. I have no problems with people thinking for themselves and this, but sometimes I used to feel like, because I'm a woman, they're doing that. Otherwise, I think it's changed. You, as a woman, you have to put your foot down and just show them that I'm now in charge. You better do it this way, or we're all gonna get into trouble. So it's more like a team thing, right? So best thing is to involve everyone, ensure they know that you're a team. You're not doing this just for your name. You're not doing this just because you want to please the boss or whatever. You're doing this because your company requires it. It's a policy, and we need to work as a team to achieve a common goal. So the biggest thing is everyone should know what the goal is and how they're all going to benefit from that goal. So I guess that kinds of, breaks that barrier. Like people come to feel like when they know that it's going to benefit them, then they see how it's going to benefit them. That's when they just don't care if you're male or female, as long as you're doing something that's going to be good for them, and that they understand their role, their part in this, the whole thing. They will I think that helps with the challenge, minimizing any roadblocks, and all those comes through experience. I think it's not just the female who experienced that. I believe even the guys would probably experience something like that, like dealing with difficult people who work under you. So mostly it would probably be just attitude. I would say just with attitude, those were probably challenges, but you have to learn to work with people like that, and then try to see things from their perspective and find ways to make them see things the other way. So that kinds of work.
That's good. Yeah, as long as we see that we're all part of a team and we are all working together for a common goal to achieve, then and see each other as equal players. You know, say me boss or me man or Mary, but as a team. So yeah, I like that too. Maybe the last part now is with the girls who are interested in taking up ICT. I have 2 daughters, but I think my son is gonna be the one that will take up ICT because he's like more interested in the animation part and digital animation. My daughter does like media, more camera work and stuff, but I think my son will be the one. But I see our young children now, they're all more, what's the word? They're more the creative space people, where it's not gonna be one profession that they'll be, they'll take up like so many different skill sets, and that because of the access to technology, like now we have online learning. You can, like I tell my children, you can go on and learn any skill that you want. If you wanna be a musician, or you wanna be a cook, or you wanna be whatever, you can access anything online now. So again, it comes back to access, internet access, connectivity, internet prices, and I'm thankful also that our government now through the Department of ICT, like you actually know that we have a department in place, and we have a digital bill that's been passed, and they're actually doing their part in terms of policies and allowing for access and safety measures and things to take place. So in terms of girls and their access to ICT education and them becoming professionals like us in this space, what are some of the encouragement or I don't know, some thoughts that you would like to share with them, especially in this time where we are right now in this the technology is here, and it's like it's just at your fingertips, and you don't have to apply and wait to go into uni. Like it's just there. Like what's your encouragement for young girls?
Yeah, so I would say my encouragement would be for both girls and guys. I mean, young boys and girls. With the girls, with what we have right now, I say for PNG, I see that a lot of things that are happening in the tech space is happening outside of Papua New Guinea. We're just talking about it. So for now, I think I want to see a lot more people getting into being innovative, creating stuff, not just content that you go and place online. With the access to the internet, with YouTube, with Facebook, you can create anything. You can sell anything online. E-commerce, there's virtual reality, you got artificial intelligence. None of these things are being done here, like, full scale, So I think I would be really excited to see something in that space, some tech and innovation. You have to go full speed. Our young people, if people right now are not doing it, that's for young kids to come on and do it. And the girls, you should not, underestimate yourself. I believe there's lots of potential in our young people, and it's a good thing that you mentioned the Department of ICT. It's a good thing. I really do like I do like what they're doing, because I think that's gonna really set the platform for change in the country, and that's going to really help our young people coming up. So you don't have to be just in IT to do a lot of new things, great things. You can do it in other areas as well, like photography or some other areas. But use IT as your tool. In the past, ICT was just an enhancer, or a tool to support business functions. Now it's a real part of our lives. You will see it being used in the homes. We've got Internet of Things coming up, all sorts of things coming up. So it's an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think like the main thing now is for that, like, personally, I think is that our education division or education body has to collaborate with the Department of ICT, with the professionals, and see how, this is where we are at with technology, this is what is coming, and we need to change the ICT curriculum or system so that we start to introduce those skill sets and bring the connectivity to, rural parts of Papua New Guinea so that everyone has access to internet. So thank you for our time here and sharing your story, your experience and thoughts about access and safety and girls in ICT. I don't know what's been happening, today in celebrating the International Girls in ICT Day in Papua New Guinea, but I know there's a lot of events taking place, and this should be an ongoing thing, where it doesn't take place only one time a year. But there should always be continuous events taking place so that people know that, there's a need for ICT and for more women in this space. So any last words you want to say before we end?
Just thank you. Thank you that you've given your time and with the girls in ICT. I think we need a lot more women in the field to continue doing this, promoting this kind of things for our girls, for young girls. So I think PNG, we're probably still sleeping. so it'd be good to see us wake up anytime soon.
Thank you, Emmie, and I'd like to send a shout out to Top Shot Media. Thank you for broadcasting or filming these interviews, and we hope that anyone who is listening, anyone who watches this broadcast, if you're interested in taking up the profession of ICT and you need advice, you can always contact us through PNGICTMeri page, or speak to Emmie or myself. And there's so many other women in Papua New Guinea who are doing great work in the area of ICT. And we also thank you to the Department of ICT for putting the digital bill forward, and we know that there are great things to come. Thank you.